how are you? Today what we're going to take a look at is a little bit of theory. So what I'm going to show you is how you can be able to name any chord. And we'll be basing this on our understanding of just the 5 basic chords, which are the C, A, G, E, D, right? Those shapes, the C, the A, the G, and the E, and the D. These 5 basic chord shapes, you can take up the fretboard using bar chords. So what we'll be taking a look at is the E chord. So when you take the E chord along the fretboard, you need to use a bar finger, and that allows you to hold down the strings as if this were the nut. So then you've got this kind of shape. What we need to be able to do when we're looking at this, let's hope this pen works. Okay, yes it does. Okay, so that's going to be where the first finger is, and then we have a finger there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. Now what we need to know here is which scale degree each one of those notes represents. Now if you know the E chord, you know that the low string and the high string are E. So that means that that is the root note of that chord. Chords are based on the first, third, and the fifth of a scale, 1, 3, 5, then you'll know that those notes appear in that chord, not necessarily in that order. So let's take a look at what these notes represent in terms of the scale degree. I'm going to put numbers here, and this represents the scale degrees, okay? So this is, we'll call this 1, that's the root. That's the root. Now what's that one? If you take a look at the scale, that was 5, right? So that's the 5th. How about this one? Well, actually, if you can hear that, that's an octave. So that's also, that's going to be the same note as that, but in a different octave. So we'll put a 1 for that. So what about this one? Now if we go play the scale from here, we can hear that that's the 3rd. And then the next note, what's that? So let's try that scale again. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the 5th, which is the same over here. So we've got two fifths, we've got 3 root notes, and we've got 1/3. So knowing that is going to help us to name our chords. Now, the chords that we typically know are major and minor. Now I'm assuming that you know the basic chord shapes and that you know some of the minor chords too. Let's take a look at the A chord. A chord like that, and if you change one note, it becomes a minor. So we can do the same thing here. Now if we understand that what determines a minor is the 3rd. Now we have either a major 3rd or a minor 3rd in a chord. So that 3rd, that note right there will be, if I play this on here, that note there is a major 3rd. A minor 3rd is a half step back, or it's 1 fret below that in the scale. All right, so that gives us that minor tone. So by changing just that one note, then we've got either major or minor. So that's the minor. Now let's take a look at sevenths. Sevenths are interesting because we don't have a 7th here, but if you think of how many notes are in a scale, you've got 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what's the 7th? It's right behind the octave, which is right there. So an easy way to find the 7th is to find any one of the root notes and go back a fret. Or, so if you put one of those notes in there, you could play, and you can play like that, and that is actually a special 7th. It's actually a major 7th. So what we have here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that is a major 7th because it's part of that major scale. Right, so let's write some of these things here. We're going to say this is a flat 3rd or a minor 3rd right there, like that. Now what we're taking a look at now is this note, which we usually change. We could change either this one or that one because they're both the same note, just in different octaves. But we're going to take a look at this one. We're going to alter that one. And if we bring that one back over here, then we've got this shape. That note there is actually a major seventh because it belongs to the major scale. So I'm going to say major seventh. So that's that note right there. So now let's take a look at what we call a seventh chord, or sometimes called a dominant seventh. And that's this note right here. We take that finger off and we play that note instead. So that's our seventh chord. And it has a flat 7. All right, so that's the seventh. Now in a minor scale, let's think of the minor scale. The minor scale is something interesting too, because if you play, that's a natural minor scale. Now that seventh note is the same seventh note as this one here. So when you play a minor chord, if we take off that one, we play that, right? We play. To get the seventh of that, the minor seventh, we take another finger off, and that gives us that chord. So what have we covered so far? We covered the major chords, the minor chords, we've covered the major sevenths, the sevenths, and now we covered the minor sevenths. Now let's just take a quick look at the fifth tone, because that's an interesting tone too, because in a chord sometimes you'll see something like a minor 7 flat 5. Okay, so what's that? Well, let's do the minor 7 first. So we're going to go like this. So the minor 7, there's the seventh tone, there's the third. Now what we need to do is to add a flat 5. So logically speaking, what do you think are we going to do with that tone? We could take that tone and go back like that, which is fine. I like that. I like that chord. But we can also take this note and move that back. Move that back to there. Now what we can do is we can play this note right here, which is the root. Then we play the seventh right there. We play the minor third right there. And then we're going to take that one back. I'm going to take this one back there. And that's going to be the flat 5. All right, so that way now what we can do is we can take this note here and we can skip the fifth right there. Play the seventh note right there. Play the minor third right there. And then I'm going to play this note right here, which is the flat 5. Oh, beautiful! So that's our minor 7 flat 5. That's such an interesting pull to it. So we've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm going to be making up a sheet that you can download from the website. And if you want to know when I do some more of these videos, then please hit the subscribe button. If you like this, hit the like button. If you don't like it, then hit the don't like button. For right now, what I'm going to say is stay tuned. We've got more to come, and I look forward to seeing you soon. It's okay.